time is now. Welcome back to the Time is Now podcast. Thank God we could be here together today. On this podcast, we speak to entrepreneurs from all industries and figure out what makes them tick, where they came from, what business means to them, and how they achieve success. I'm Dr. Slava Shut, a doctor of physical therapy, serial entrepreneur, and your host. Welcome everybody to the Time is Now podcast. We have a special guest with us today, Julie Roy. I'm very excited to introduce her today. She is a childcare multi-site owner turned real estate investor and an amazing entrepreneur. I'm so excited to chat with you today. Let's get into it. So tell the audience about yourself. Tell us about you, Julie.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. You are right. I was a childcare owner. So had two large private equity exits, one in 2011 and one in 2020. And yeah, turned into a real estate investor after that exit. So took the capital from the sale and coupled it with a real estate sale. So had a closing of the business to a private equity company and the real estate to a REIT with a triple net 15-year lease in place for all 10 locations. So we were able to get a really amazing multiple for sale, took that real estate, 1031'd everything into triple net corporate entities that we basically just live off passively 100% from the passive income of all those places. And then we had a little bit of a problem. We had a tax bill. So then we started to investigate the multifamily side of things to eradicate the tax. And so now we live 100% passive income off of the passive income and 100% tax-free. So wow. We feel like we've now finally reached the, sort of the epitome of where we wanted to be, yeah.
That's amazing. So it's amazing that, one, that you made a few pennies together from a business you sold. And then number two, the first thing you didn't do is go shopping to, whatever, Bloomingdale's and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. Wow, amazing. You took your money and you put it into something that actually makes you more money over time and passively without you doing a lot of hard work. That is shocking. That's mind-blowing. I mean, who would do such a thing? Like it's crazy, right?
Yeah, so we learned really early on. I mean, we made all the mistakes business owners make and buy all of the liabilities, the nice cars, the watches, the purses, all those things. We got into business. I was 20 years old. I started a preschool in the basement of the church with a $25,000 loan at 19%. So I mean, we really had a loan shark of a loan. He actually said to my boyfriend then, my husband now, I hope you love this girl because if you don't pay this, we're going to find you, basically. That's how the loan started. I grew up with a single mom. She worked 2-3 jobs at one time. A lot of great work ethic in our family. Came from an Italian background. So both my parents were immigrants to Canada. I was the first generation Canadian, but yeah, really had the work ethic behind us and always thought, we wanted to just level up to another place. And so after we made those early mistakes of just, when you're making money, you're buying things. And we started having kids and started learning more about money and financial wealth and literacy, financial literacy. And we started just we stopped buying liabilities. Like if it wasn't an asset that was going to create cash flow for us, we just stopped buying it. And then we started to use the cash flow to buy the liabilities, which makes a lot more sense. So that happened quite early on. My husband was a doctor. He went through all school during that time that we started the schools. We actually retired him out really early from his practice. So we've both been living independently off of W-2s or, normal careers for quite some time now. And we have 4 kids too. So busy parents.
I want to know 2 things. One, what do you guys do all day? And number 2, how has motherhood shaped your entrepreneurial journey?
So interesting. My kids were always part of the journey. I mean, I always had children in the middle of opening schools, in the middle of scaling, in the middle of expansion. They were always helping on the weekends. If we were opening a new school, they were opening boxes. So my kiddos have a real entrepreneurial outlook in life. They know business, they appreciate business and financial literacy. You know, we have really different opinions in our household about what the American dream looks like to us. We're actually Canadian, but we've moved to America now. So I'm going to recite the American dream. But, you know, we talk about like, you're not going to own a house and create a 25 or 40 or 50-year debt. You know, you're going to have a duplex or a quad or something like that. And those folks will pay your mortgage. And, you know, one son wants to be a doctor. I have another one in college. I have two in college, two in middle school. So one just graduated, one in college, one in 8th grade, one in 7th. So we have 12 to 19 pretty much now. So they, you know, take financial literacy classes online, and we are very worldly. We travel a lot to many different countries. We feel like classroom without walls are really what teaches the children. And so, yeah, in terms of the kids and my journey as a mom, it's always been to just expose them and talk about all the things we know, because if we know better, we should do better, right? And so having them know those things early on is, I think, super critical.
Very nice. So what is somebody who makes 100% passive income and tax free, you know, what do you guys do all day? Like, I know you do some traveling and stuff like that, but you know, do you have a schedule? Do you have like a regimented, somewhat regimented day?
Actually, I'm super I'll call myself hyper focused. It's a nice way to say attention deficit, but I'm super hyper focused. And I'm super OCD. So I have a really regimented schedule. I follow the exact same thing every day. I like eat the same foods. I work out at the same time. I get up the same time every day. Our schedule is very regimented. The kids' schedules is fairly regimented as well. But, you know, in terms of what do we do all day? So I'm still doing a lot of deals. We do a lot of triple net deals right now. We've lots of people have asked us to partner with us, right? To JV with us, to partner with us, to syndicate, you know, as LPs or GPs with us. And the big space that we've been in the triple net space for over 20 years. So now we've started syndicating triple net. So a lot of folks have come on board with that. We just closed a Starbucks together with a group of people. We're doing a learning experience currently at 506C. So we bring people in. It's a little bit of a higher entry point for the triple nets, but we buy all cash. So there's cash flow day one. They're getting cash flow within 30 days. They become true partners. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Let's talk.
Sign up. Exactly. Let's go.
We got to talk.
Yeah. So because what happened was we were doing a lot of triple net. And then, like I said, we had the tax problem. Then we became really kind of confident in the multifamily space, GP, a lot of deals last year. And this year, as you know, the market is really different. And so what we've done is we always have loved having a triad portfolio that consisted of the triple net for cash flow, multifamily for tax eradication, and then sort of like a storage, industrial, car wash section that just balance off the rest of the portfolio. But our heavy hitters are the triple net and the multifamily. And so the multifamily this year, number one, the deals are less admirable, and they're kind of few and far between, as well as the bonus depreciation piece for us has been an issue because bonus depreciation, as you know, comes with leverage, right? So the higher leveraged deals bring higher leverage, a higher amount of depreciation. So these low leverage deals that we're appreciating right now isn't bringing us the same bonus depreciation. So we've kind of gone back to that triple net, influence or influx of triple net properties because we're cost segregating those, and it's about 25 to 30% cost segregation depreciation coming out, which is honestly going to be about what we get from multifamily this year. Most people think we're going to get a high leverage of depreciation. That is not what's going to happen this year. The more money you have to raise in a deal, the less obviously depreciation you have to share amongst those folks. So the less you have loan wise, the less you're going to have in terms of depreciation. So there's been some changes in the market to kind of have us, reposition basically what we've been doing last year to kind of pivot and quickly reposition this year. And so, so we've done one multifamily deal in January. We're doing a Starbucks now. Like I said, we're closing on that. We're just waiting for an estoppel certificate for that, but it's been done and raised. And then this 506C that we're doing now is a childcare center in Southlake, Texas. And because I've been in childcare forever, the space is really great. It's an incredible location. People are making about $570 a month starting month one. So, and it goes up. We have 10% rent bumps in the leases, and it's just like a really auto-programmed type of investment, which is really nice for the sit and let it just create. And right now, that's what people want. They have some concerns about the market, the banks, not leaving money in the bank. So this is a way with triple net syndication, it's a way to basically park your money backed by real estate and creating a cash flow that's consistent. So it's been really nice for folks and has been working really well. And we're really glad that we have the opportunity to be able to do these deals to bring other folks in, because we're really about this second half of our life is just really about giving back and the generosity breeding all of this abundance, and so that's what we're doing, and we're so happy to be able to offer this to folks.
That's amazing. Let's say that somebody's just starting off, right? Because you just spouted off this entire language that probably 90% of America would not even understand. They're like, what language is she speaking? What did she just say? We get the thesaurus, right? So what if somebody's starting off? How would they do it? What is a starting point in real estate now that you have a lot more experience in this field, and you're pretty diverse? So you would be a good one to ask, how do I start if I'm starting off in real estate and I have not too many, as they say, pots to pee in?
Yeah. So, I think it depends on where you're at in the journey. Honestly, it depends on how much money you have liquid. It depends on how much risk tolerance you have. There's so many things. When we get to know investors, we have questionnaires. We talk to them about all these things because we need to know, like, how can we help you? How can we best help you to get to where you need to be? We often start with the end in mind. I'm writing a book right now that's called Starting with the End in Mind, because often people don't know where they want to go or how to get there, but they know where they want to be, right, at the end of this journey. And so we take that and we work backwards. So how much do you need to make, to live monthly? What do we need to replace? Where do you want to be? How do you want to do that? And so we start with that. We talk about risk tolerance. We talk about, do you feel really comfortable, risking a lot, moderate, minimum, if you're 20 versus you're 60. There's all these things to take into consideration. I find now we're doing a lot of IRA work, because a lot of folks aren't happy with the markets. And so they'd rather put something in their triple net, have some stability, know that every month, it's not guaranteed because we can't say guaranteed according to SEC, but it's very stabilized income repetitive stabilized monthly income. It's also monthly, so people can live off a monthly stipend or distribution. With triple net, that's sort of a bonus, because with multifamily, it's quarterly, sometimes it's not consistent. So I feel like it just really depends where you are, and getting to know your investor is really important. If you're an investor coming in and not knowing where you want to go, I think you need to talk about where you want to end up and work backwards with how much you would need to replace your W-2 or replace your current active income.
Beautiful. So you deal a lot, you talk about, single, double, and triple net, type of properties. Can you tell America, the people who do not have as much experience in real estate, what are the differences? What are they looking at here?
Yeah. So, we don't do single or double net. We do fully hands-off triple net, which means they pay the taxes, the insurance, and the rent, and everything that comes with it. We most often are responsible for structure. So like the actual building structure. When we buy triple net, when I say we own a Starbucks, we own the land and the building, and Starbucks is our tenant. They're a triple A rated tenant, which means they have a corporate guarantee. So say they did not want our site anymore. Oh, Julie, we don't like this site anymore. It's called going black or going dark. They would shut the site down, but the corporate guarantee would cover the rent for the entire term of the lease. So it's fairly stabilized unless Starbucks goes bankrupt and across the entire US. Now, there is that possibility. And whenever I talk about the risks, there's two. That the triple net company goes bankrupt, because that is a possibility. I don't know when Starbucks is going to go bankrupt. I probably keep them in business enough. I have to pay. I always say I'm keeping my tenants in business, but if they did go bankrupt, then so there would be an issue, or if there was Mother Nature, right? Obviously a flood or tornado, although the tenant is responsible to replace that building, you would have some downtime. So what we do as an added layer of protection is we buy all cash. So we do not involve any banks. So there's no debt in our building. So from day one, we are the full owners of this, building and land. And so remarketability is up to us. Selling is up to us. We have full control, which puts us in a really advantageous situation for resale, or say the market changes from a 6 cap to a 5 cap and we want to sell with it. We always do a 10-year plus lease. And we always do new builds only, so brand new. So when they open, we take over from the developer. So the risk is mitigated quite a bit.
That's beautiful. Where do you like to invest? Like what regions? Because, personally, I'm in California and I really don't want to touch California with a 10-foot pole so the one thing in California that I've noticed as I increase my experience in real estate is the short-term and mid-term markets for short-term rentals and mid-term rentals. Those are pretty good. Insurance rentals, those are pretty good. Everything else, I wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. All my properties are nowhere near California.
Yeah, and you have to be super careful too about short-term, mid-term rentals, because anything that the government has any control over, I'm always concerned about, or at least I'm cautious about, because they can change that zoning anytime. They can say, hey, no more short-terms allowed in this area anytime. It's happened to numerous friends of ours. So we don't get into that market. I do know that some people have a really great and fruitful career in that space. We just don't know enough about it, and I don't feel comfortable, talking about it. All I know that there are some caveats, and concerns around location, and having the government basically say, oh, this neighborhood is no longer zoned for STR or whatever. So something to keep in mind, that they can just come in and pull permits, right? And say, oh, I'm sorry, like we're not allowing that anymore. Or if neighbors get, kind of upset about this happening in an area, they'll just go to council and change the zoning, which then leaves people right out of their investment. Where do I like to invest? I am a red state kind of girl in terms of investments because they're landlord friendly. So we only invest in usually the Sun Belt. So we have a lot in Florida, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. Yeah, we do have some in Omaha, Nebraska, which is where we live, because it is it's a really great city to invest in. Warren Buffett has made a lot of money here, and it's kind of a private, quiet place that no one really, it's not on everyone's radar. Now it's on everyone's radar. But anyway, so we have like a few Starbucks here and a few other triple nets as well. But I would say, mostly Florida, Texas, non-taxable states is preferred for us. That's sort of the highest on our level of investments. But we have Oklahoma, we have all kinds of Nevada, we kind of have across the continental US now. And we also are in many different asset classes in the triple net. So we own like Starbucks, Taco Bells, O'Reilly's, AutoZones, KinderCares, TLEs, which is the learning experiences. Like we have an array so that our portfolio is diverse enough that, it also creates some mitigation against, industry downs or whatever.
That's amazing. So the triple net is interesting. I've done, multifamily and single family and some industrial stuff. The triple net business is sounding pretty good. I've done storages and all that kind of stuff. So I found it fascinating. How do you start up in a triple net business?
So that's the challenging part. So that's why most people have asked us to partner, because with triple net, especially without any debt. So right now there's let's just go very basic. Yeah. You want to buy a Starbucks. Let's call it $3 million. So most people don't have $3 million of capital sitting in their bank. So number one, it's capital heavy. So that's the first caveat. Number two, the cap rate might be 5.2, let's call it, which is what we just got, which is great, except if you're borrowing money at 7%, you're upside down. So means you need to pretty much do it all cash right now for it to work. Okay. The third part is that if you want to mitigate your cash into different entities and asset classes, this is going to take a lot of that if you want to do it yourself. So why people asked us to do it was so that we could all put a portion or a share in, mitigate our risk, create wealth with each other, create appreciation, and our asset is our investment is backed by this real estate asset. So let's just call what we're doing now the learning experience. It's in an incredible spot in South Lake, Texas, right on South Lake Boulevard. We always look for location, location, location. I mean, it's really number one. Because at the end of the day, remarketability is important and appreciation is important. Cash on cash returns are great. And we already know what those are going to be, because when you get into a triple net, you're buying the lease. That's really what you're buying, right? I mean, you're buying the building and the land, but you're buying the lease. That's what creates the value. So your net operating income or your gross rent is the same. So like, for example, this school that we bought is $415,000 of rent a year. So if everyone puts in $120,000, their share is going to put out about $571 a month for the first 5 years. Then year 6, 11, and 17, there's 10% rent bumps. So within the period, if you actually held for the entire 20 years, your return is 1.38x, right? So you're getting 138% on your money. So it's a very different way of creating wealth while appreciating your initial, let's call it cash bag, right? So this $120,000 sits in this equity or this asset. So we own this TLE outright. So you have the building, the land outright. No one can take it from you. You're pretty much covered with everything. Obviously taxes, everything's being paid by the tenant. And you're getting this monthly cash flow, we have a 20-year triple net lease as our primary lease term. Then we have 2 extensions. So we could technically keep it for 30 years. Obviously, if we even kept it for 10 with 2 rent bumps in place, like at year 11, we'd have a 20% net operating income increase, right? So it's really, and most people aren't doing this because in order for you, there's 2 issues, the capital issue, and then also the relationships with the developers. So we've closed personally on our own. We have $65 million that we own personally, no syndication. And then we have syndication deals with other folks. And then we have about 308 million under management in multifamily. And this has only been, the multifamily has only really been for the past 18 months, let's call it. So a lot of that had to happen for a tax write-off basically. But if we talk about the triple net, the more you do with developers, of course, they're going to come to me because they're like, well, Julie's closed on all these deals. She's a good person. We know for sure she's coming to the finish line. So now doing the triple nets with syndication, it's a little more work to get to that finish line because it's not just you coming to the plate anymore, right? So when you ask me what I do all day, I do a lot. I do a lot of research. I talk to a lot of investors. I do a lot of education. Honestly, I feel like probably 90% of my day is doing this, educating folks on different asset classes, educating folks on opportunity, educating folks on what we've done. So we have 2 books that are coming out. One is just a basic real estate investing book, like, hey, this is how you need to start doing real estate, and how to create passive income stream to eventually not only safeguard your income, but hopefully replace it in the long term. The second book is more of like a historical, business book on how we created our business, how we scaled and executed, and then turned that into a real estate business. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the historical timeline of where we're at with investing.
What's a controversial subject that, that's out there, maybe in real estate or anywhere in life, that you'd really want to get off your chest, like something that like strikes a nerve or hot topic? You seem like a down-to-earth girl, but let's get spicy a little bit. Let's
so like I'm super passionate. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm super passionate about a lot of things. But I would say the biggest thing that I've had concerns with or have been super passionate about in terms of advocacy and advocating on is folks getting involved with the wrong people in real estate. And so I teach a lot about transparency and communication and knowing and liking and trusting your sponsor, your GP, your general partner. I've been in a lot of general partner relationships, some great, some not so great, but the not so great ones, I never call them failures, by the way. We don't fail in our household. We have lessons. Okay. So lessons, as long as you're learning from a downfall, it's not a failure. The only time that, failure is if you quit. We just don't quit in this house. And that's sort of what we have talked about. And so having said that, I've learned a lot from relationships in the past 2.5 years in syndication, because like I said, we did this all on our own for a long time. So we didn't have the other component of, having to trust other people, work with other folks. And in multifamily, we've paid probably $300,000 in mentorship. So we paid a lot of people to teach us and scale us quickly in that area because we had a tax problem to eradicate quickly. Okay. So we spent a lot of money in the space. We learned a lot. We met some great people and some not so great people. But I think what I'm super passionate about is that, they don't tell you the things that you need to know as a new GP or as a new general partner going out in the space. One is that, when you're meeting experienced general partners, a really great question to ask is like what they're going to do with your investor list, which is your assets, right? I mean, your investors are your people, and you're supposed to be the conductor. You're supposed to be the person that helps them through the investment. They trust you. I've had, some uncanny experiences of GPing with other folks that take your list or call your people and have dinner without you there. Lots of things that have happened in my past. And I feel super passionate about teaching, new investors and new general partners about being super cautious and, asking about that investor list, asking about non-solicitation clauses, portals, who gets the information, all of those pieces. I was very trusting and just a really open-hearted and open-minded partner. And I've learned through that to be much more cautious. I now have an avatar of people that I will GP with. I have an avatar for product. I have an avatar for clients. I've had to really create a much better situation to protect my investors. And I just in the beginning did not know enough. And now that we know better, we're just expected to do better. And I think if we're going to talk about something that's kind of a hot topic for me, I'm super passionate about that. If you see me on anybody's, podcasts, I've been on a ton of, webinars, and I'm always talking about, especially to new GPs that are looking to partner. And, when you're a new GP, you really want somebody experienced to help you, right? Join. And so you'll do whatever, honestly, like you're so excited about the partnership. And I think the excitement sometimes takes over being realistic about what that partnership looks like and delineating what your rules are with the SEC, right? And just checking all the boxes that are required. And now that we know better, obviously, but the first few times, I think that, we had a lot of lessons.
Yeah, but lessons happen in life, and sometimes you pay a lot of money, sometimes you pay a little bit of money, but the lesson is learned, and sometimes it's heartache, sometimes it's time. So either way, you're paying, but we have to pay for mentorship, and sometimes it's from a different type of mentorship than you planned, but it is mentorship nevertheless. So where can we find you, Julie? Plug yourself away. Where can people find this real estate brilliance?
So I have a Facebook page that's pretty active. I think there's about 1,000 members. It's a private page, but it's a Roy Real Estate Equity Group. And if you find it, you just have to ask to join it, and we bring you in. We don't do a huge amount of Instagram because a lot of my investors are on Facebook, but I've started now to kind of increase the Instagram awareness, which is just the Julie Roy on Instagram. So you can find me there. In terms of like the space, I'm on a ton of WhatsApp groups, obviously for investors. I go to a lot of networking events. I'm part of a lot of the groups, the general groups kind of everyone goes to, but in general, I think those are sort of the places. Our Website is roymultifamily.com. We mainly do, I would say most people contact us through email or text, which is just Roy Holdings with an S, LLC at gmail.com. If you want to get in contact with us, we have a real estate club, which is super cool. It's free. You can get on that. And basically that just gives you kind of like first opportunity to any of our deals. Our deals are smaller in terms of like the number of investors because it's a higher level of monetary commitment. And most of them are for accredited investors, although our Starbucks was for unaccredited, which was super cool because that was really nice for them to get in. We did, honestly, we basically put out to a small amount of our real estate group. We didn't even put it to all of them because we had interest prior. And in 20 hours, it was sold out. Like it was so quick. So those types of deals are really small. It's 15 of us, right? So that's it. We're done. And some people bought, $500,000, right? Like, so some people aren't going to just buy one share. Because if you want the cash flow and the money's in the bank and you're not secure about what's happening in the system right now, it's better to do that so you can kind of just be secure against a real estate portion. So that's where you can find me. That's pretty much it.
That was awesome. I mean, talk about value and the things that you said, and people should, go back and watch this over again because, Julie just dropped like science on you, like real estate. This was a class. I'm telling you right now, you just got value after value after value. We really appreciate you because, you just came out here and you just like home runned it, and you gave us a bunch of information and a lot of stuff that people should go Google or whatever you got to do. But it was nuggets of just brilliance. So we thank you for that. And that was a masterclass on the different classes of real estate. And believe me, folks, there's a lot of specificity within each of those things too. So there's a lot to learn, obviously, but it's well worth it. As you could see, the beautiful life and beautiful family that you guys have. And we're so proud of you. And that's so amazing, the things that you're doing. Let's keep in touch. Let's do some business, and let's keep providing value to others.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all we're about right now, is just trying to help other people get to that next level, help them. Like we always help people that have questions, comments, concerns, how to get there, how to start. I probably spend, like I said, 90% of my day teaching and helping folks get into deals or learn about something new. And I'm a teacher, obviously I had preschools before. So teaching is part of what I love to do. And I feel like the generosity of teaching fills my heart. So yeah, we love that piece of it, and we love to see people move forward, and the more people we can help impact, right? Impact is so important for us. So and if they're on that real estate page, that Facebook page, every day I talk about a topic. So I post every single day. So 365 different topics every year. We talk about everything from living a passive income lifestyle to getting there, to how we started, to different asset classes, offerings, whatever, or what's going on in the media market, right? So it's also a great place for new learners, new investors, new GPs, anybody that's trying to learn about this space. We hope to continue to add value, hopefully get something out of it, but it's very much sort of like what we talked about today with each other, and just dropping like one thing at a time. Absolutely. So people can ingest a little bit at a time. So
that was awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. We'll run this back at some point again. We'll circle back around. It was a pleasure having you. And listen, let's do great things. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening, make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you for listening to The Time Is Now with me, Dr. Slava Shut. Remember to tune in every Friday at 2 p.m. and send in your questions to Dr. Slava Shut on Twitter. Thank you, thank you, thank you.